I'm Judy Shields with the Hollywood Times. Today, we welcome the creative team behind the remarkable new hybrid live action and animated short film, The Vale Origins. Please introduce yourselves and tell us your role with the film.
Hi, I'm Abigail Hing Wen. I am the writer-director of the film. It is based on my novel that just came out in 2025, The Vale, but is a prequel to The Vale, so it takes place 6 years prior.
Hi, I'm Andromeda. I was the composer for The Vale.
Hi, I'm Emma, and I was the production designer for the Vale.
Very cool. Thank you all for joining us today. I'll start out and ask Abigail a first question, and we'll ask each of the other ones a question. How's that? Okay, Abigail, The Vale Origins is a prequel to your best-selling novel. What part of Bran Lee's family history did you most want audiences to understand before entering the larger world of The Vale?
So the story of The Veil is about this boy who creates an AI-generated virtual fantasy world, and he ends up entering it in a high-stakes competition to win a $10 million investment for his family, who has fallen on hard times. But a wizard comes and starts to wreak havoc in the world of The Veil, which also impacts his chances in the real world. But it was really important for readers to understand, like, why does this veil matter? Is it just, if it's just a video game, then we don't care that it's being destroyed by this wizard, but it meant so much more to Bran, and that is the story of the Vale Origins. It's a story about the family grieving the loss of a child. It was a miscarriage, late term, and for Bran, really, this elf Nomli is so much more than a video game. It's actually like a surrogate brother to him, and so understanding the stakes of that, the emotional stakes of what this world meant to him, was important, I think, for audiences to really care about his journey in the book.
Great. This is for Emma. The Veil is expanding through books, live action film, animation, and Roblox. What excites each of you most about creating a world that audiences can experience across so many different platforms?
It was really important to be able to integrate the live action as well as the animated VR portion of the film, and so to bridge those two worlds together. It was imperative that we made a cohesive look and thematic color scheme that would be able to once again be the connective tissue between those two worlds as well as the elements, and make sure that Brand's character was also thoroughly true to him and authentically who he is in both the real world and the animal world.
Great, Emma, really quick.
Yeah.
Was there one visual element, set detail, or design choice that became especially important in establishing the emotional tone of the film?
There's a few actually, but the first thing that came to mind was the wallpaper in his bedroom, the forest and the trees. We picked out a wallpaper that was a bit more abstract. Obviously, visually looked like a forest, but there were some hidden elements. Like I drew in some elements of Nomley in there, some other characters that we see in the virtual world as well. And just throughout his entire room, all of his drawings, all of his paintings, they're all tiebacks to his imagination that eventually become reality in the virtual world.
How did you develop the musical sound of the Veil Origins, and what did you want the score to communicate about Bran's imagination and his relationship with his family?
Yeah, so I think for me, music is, it's a big part of this film in particular because there is not like a whole lot of dialogue as compared to some other short films, which means that there's a lot of room for the music to breathe and kind of set the emotional tone of a lot of the scenes. And so the way that I was thinking about the music is figuring out which emotions I want to support with the music, and also where sometimes the scene just needs silence to let what's already on the screen kind of show through. Um, and so when I was thinking about writing the score, there were a couple different things that I was keeping in mind. Um, One thing that's kind of common that I didn't do on this film is giving characters their own particular theme. So I gave Bran his own theme, but I didn't give themes to the other characters, mostly because of the length of the film. So there's not enough time to kind of become familiar with the themes. And so what I did instead was have musical ideas for the real world and the virtual world, as well as uh, the theme for Bran, but also sort of the kind of underlying motif of the film, which is the song Lavender's Blue.
Yeah.
So I used little snippets of that song all throughout the score of the film. And then the credit music is a full arrangement of that song with new lyrics that
And can you share who it was that sang that song?
yeah, so Lea Salonga, she also plays Addie, who's the mom in the film. She's an amazing singer. She's known for being on Miss Saigon, Les Miserables, and Mulan and Princess Jasmine, the singing voices of those characters. And it was just a delight to work with her on that song. So that process was really fun for me because all I gave to her was a super bare bones arrangement that just had like the rhythm and the chord changes basically, and um, we gave her the melody and the lyrics, and she was amazing, of course. It was also really fun to get her musical input on it. So, for example, I gave her the track at two different tempos, and as soon as she finished the second tempo, she told me, "Oh yeah, that felt way better. I felt like I had room to breathe there." Um, and that's what we ended up going with. And so I took those recordings and constructed the rest of the arrangement around it.
So you're like best friends now. Very well done. Abigail, this is your directorial debut, and the film combines live action with animation. What was the greatest creative challenge in making those two worlds feel emotionally connected?
Yeah, it was actually quite a challenge because it's so short. The short film is just so
Yes.
short. Like with the novel, I had room, to borrow
Yeah.
Andromeda's phrase, room to breathe. Um, but this one, I think we were very ambitious about having this like flow back and forth between the world. And so it didn't actually turn out the way we scripted it, partly because we didn't get the shots that we wanted. Initially, I think we were planning going through the page of Brand's coloring book and then coming out in the world of the Vale so that you can understand like this is through his imagination and his creative work. Um, but I think for various reasons we didn't go that way. So we ended up having um, disconnected shots at the beginning that were really hard to figure out how to seem to fit back together. And actually, John Aoshima solved the problem. He's like, well, why don't we have Rand looking up in the real world, and then in the Vale, he's also looking up, and that's often a way to connect characters. So they're both looking up at the same sun or moon in the sky. And so that's how we started. And then we had a dragonfly motif, I think, that helped to try to serve as a guide. The dragonfly is part of the real world, but also, actually, I think in the short film, we just had the dragonfly appearing in the Vale itself. So it's kind of something that at least you can return to as an image to recognize, okay, like something's happening now, we're in this world again. But it was definitely probably the biggest part of the challenge. And generally, I think we wanted the emotional sense of the Vale scenes to match the emotional sense of the real world.
Well, on that, Emma, because the film moves between the real world and AI generated fantasy universe, how did the production design help distinguish those worlds while still making them feel like part of the same story?
Instead of having like one world be separate from the other, like I said before, it was really important that we make sure that there was a commonality, like a common language to it. So kind of what Abigail was saying regarding the transition from real world sky into the virtual sky. There were elements we used in some of the drawings and the paintings that Brand did that were of the sky that also became a segue transition into the virtual world. So being able to pick and choose elements from the set based on the set dressing, like I said, Brand's drawings, some of his stuffed animals, they all became integrated into the virtual world. And to a certain extent, even characters that became, his friends along his journey in that virtual world. So yeah, it was a challenge, definitely, to have that become seamless, but I think it actually worked out in the best way possible to be able to bridge those two worlds together using real world elements and creating references for a brand to create that virtual world.
I remember you had your friend's doll, which we
Mhm.
ended up, we made sure that it was sitting next to Bran at the right times in the real world. And then we had it put into the animated world too. So our illustrators and animators created it in the
Yeah,
video. So it's the critter
exactly.
that's in the trees.
Oh, how cool. Oh, how
Yeah.
exciting. Very good. Let's quickly talk about the cast. How did that come about?
Yeah, so with Leia, I'm just so thankful and grateful that she agreed to star in the short film. She had been supportive of the launch of Love Boat Taipei, and so I just sent her every book after that. Like, here's my next book, here's my next one, and then The Veil came along. I don't think we had a book. We it was just the short film at that moment. So I was thrilled that she agreed to play Addie. All her other roles, Miss Saigon and Eponine and the princesses. Like, I thought this was a really different role for her to be a badass female roboticist and a mom. And
Yeah,
so I don't think I ever told her that, but I love that role, like how it differentiates like some of the other roles that she's done in the past.
very cool. Then Robert, how did Robert?
Yeah, so Robert actually was referred to me by Shan Lee, who just did the TV series on Hulu. But she was one of the Crazy Rich Asians producers, so she sent me
Okay.
Robert. He was wonderful. And then Egan is actually the son of Janet Hsieh and George Young. Janet Hsieh was Auntie Claire in the Love and Taipei movie and was, one of the most welcoming hosts while we were all in Taiwan filming. So it was fun to do it together. And we have I have fond memories of them on set. Mom and Dad were helping us to like direct Egan because like we're like, Egan, we need Egan to look down at a certain moment. So Mom and Dad would stand in the car like, look at us, and then they went down at the exact right time so Egan's eyes would go down. So yeah, it was a family affair, like the two of them, and obviously having Andromeda on set. And yeah, I mean that's really what a film is. Like it just brings together people in such a special, deep way, and those creative connections, like those are so meaningful.
Here's a question for all three of you. What do you hope audiences take away from seeing the Veil Origins at San Diego Comic-Con?
I'll let you gals go first.
Go ahead, Emma.
Um, Honestly, I just hope that, first off, I hope that people enjoy the film as well as take interest in reading the book. But also, I just hope that they understand that, like, it's okay. AI is okay. AI is not something to be so afraid of. I really do think the media and some of our insecurities do take the best of us, and I think it's a tool. Really, I think it's something to lean into and use at our advantage, as opposed to let the fear of AI take me over. Kind of stall us and trump us from growing. But also, I hope that parents, adults, kids can see that this could be an asset and a tool to create worlds, the way that Bran did in this story.
For me, the Veil is really a story about a family, and it's about this family grieving the miscarriage, but eventually what brings them together is realizing that they should care for the family that they do have, and I think that's a really powerful message.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's just the power of imagination and the ways that can expand us and take us out of grief into beautiful things.
I'm 66 and I love playing my grandson's 7. I love playing with his toys and the imaginations we both have. And I tell my daughter-in-law, I said, we should be filming this. This is amazing where he goes. And that's why I loved your movie so much. And it was wonderful. Can you share with our audience where we can learn more about the film and yourselves?
Yeah, so we can all share our social media handles on my website, abigailhingwen.com. You can sign up for my newsletter, and that's the best way to stay in touch because I can actually reach you directly and you'll hear from me directly. We are going to be releasing it for those who aren't going to San Diego Comic-Con. We'll be releasing it on Kinema, which was started by an Asian American founder named Ami Bora. And so that should probably come out August or September. And my website has more information about the Veil.
Um, you can find me on Instagram at andromeda.saxophone. Saxophone's my primary instrument, or at my website, andromedawen.com.
Thank you.
And yeah, you can find me on Instagram as well, the Emma Co underscore PD. Also on IMDb as well if you want.
Great. And so all three of you be down at Comic-Con as well?
So two of us.
Two.
Yeah, I won't be there, but I'll be there in
Oh,
spirit.
okay. And well,
Yeah, Emma
John,
Emma was at LA Comic Con with us
okay.
when we launched the trailer. Yes, John was able to make it. He's actually filming Hello Kitty right now, so we weren't sure he could
Oh,
actually make it, but he's been able to squeeze it in.
well, we thank
Yeah,
you so much for speaking with us here at the Hollywood Times. And this interview will go up on the Hollywood Times YouTube channel, Hollywood Times Official. We can't wait to spread the word about this amazing film. It's beautiful. The color, the music, everything, the actors, we appreciate it so much, and we are going to support it as much as we can.
Thank you so much, Judy. We're super
Thank
grateful.
you.
Thank you guys too. I appreciate it.